All right, welcome back to day 3 of our AZ-900 Fast Track. In part 1, we laid the groundwork. Now we build the bridges. We're diving into how you connect, manage, and basically make your Azure networks talk to the rest of the world. Let's get to it. So this is the big question, isn't it? And let me be crystal clear. On the AZ-900 exam, knowing how data moves around isn't just a suggestion. It is absolutely non-negotiable. Getting a handle on virtual networks, VPNs, ExpressRoute, and DNS, that's not just about passing a test. It's about starting to think like a real cloud architect. This stuff is the glue that holds everything you build together. So here's our game plan. We're going to approach this like an architect. First, we lay the foundation with virtual networks. Then we'll build the roads and tunnels to connect everything. After that, we'll take a ride on the premium private superhighway called ExpressRoute. And finally, we'll make sure everyone knows how to find each other with Azure DNS, the cloud's address book. Okay, let's start at square one, the absolute heart of Azure networking. I want you to think of a virtual network, or VNet for short, as your very own private, fenced-off piece of land in the enormous world of the Azure cloud. A VNet is the fundamental building block of everything you'll do. It gives you a private IP address space that you control, and it's completely isolated from every other Azure customer. This is your safe space. This is where your VMs, your apps, and your databases are going to live and talk to each other, far away from the public internet. So what can you do with this private piece of land? Well, just about everything. You can isolate things from each other, control what talks to the internet, let your Azure services communicate, hook back up to your main office. You can even inspect and filter every little bit of traffic that flows through. The bottom line is, you are in the driver's seat. Now, you wouldn't just throw everything onto your plot of land randomly, right? Of course not. You'd create smaller, fenced-off areas. One for your web servers over here, one for your databases back there. That is exactly what a subnet is. It's just a way to chop up your VNet to keep things organized and way more secure. Okay, so we've claimed our land. We've organized it with subnets, but right now, it's an island. The next logical step is to build the roads, the bridges, and the tunnels to connect it to the rest of the world, and maybe to our other properties. So when it comes to connections, you've got a few tools in your toolkit. Think of a point-to-site VPN as being for one person. That's you, working from a coffee shop, needing a secure line into Azure. A site-to-site VPN, well, that connects an entire location, like your main office building. And network-to-network? That one's pretty self-explanatory, right? It just links one Azure VNet directly to another. Okay, exam alert. I can almost guarantee you'll see this. Here's how to remember it. Policy-based is like a bouncer with a fixed paper guest list. It only lets in the specific IP addresses you wrote down. It's simple, but not flexible. Route-based, on the other hand, is like a smart GPS. It uses routing protocols to figure out the best path and can adapt if new subnets or roads are added. That's why it's way more resilient and pretty much always the one you want for on-prem connections. And of course, Azure doesn't want your connections to be fragile. By default, your VPN is active/standby. If one gateway has a problem, the other one just takes over, no sweat. If you need even more uptime, you can go active/active, with 2 tunnels running at the same time. You can even use a VPN as a backup plan for a super important ExpressRoute connection. So a VPN is like a secure armored truck driving on public roads. It's safe, but you're still in public traffic. What if you can't afford a single traffic jam? What if you need something more? Well, that's when you stop using the public roads and you build your own private superhighway straight to the cloud. And that's ExpressRoute. This is the most critical thing to understand. ExpressRoute data never touches the public internet. Ever. It's a dedicated private connection that you set up with a telecommunications partner. It's like having your own fiber optic cable running directly from your data center right into Microsoft. And this is exactly why you'd pay for it. Imagine you're trying to move a massive database, or you're running a real-time financial trading platform. You can't have lag. You need reliability, incredible speed, and most importantly, consistent, predictable performance. With ExpressRoute, there are no surprises. It's the only choice for truly mission-critical workloads. And here we go, another huge exam alert. They will absolutely ask you to choose between these two. Just burn this table into your brain. VPN, public internet, encrypted. ExpressRoute, private connection, isolated. VPN, decent bandwidth, but it can vary. ExpressRoute, massive, guaranteed bandwidth. Your choice always comes down to how much reliability and performance your application absolutely has to have.
Okay, our networks are built, our connections are up and running, but how do our applications find each other? I mean, we don't remember long strings of IP numbers, right? We use names. We need an address book for the cloud. And that's exactly what Azure DNS is.
It's really that simple. It's the cloud's version of the Contacts app on your phone. You type in a human-friendly name like www.myawesomewebsite.com, and Azure DNS looks it up and tells the computer the machine-friendly IP address it needs to connect to. It's the service that makes the internet work, and it's running on Microsoft's gigantic global network.
So why use Azure's DNS specifically? Well, it's got some killer features. It's incredibly fast and reliable thanks to something called Anycast networking, which means your request always goes to the geographically closest server. It also integrates right into Azure's security model. And it has some really smart tricks, like alias records, which can automatically update themselves if the IP address of one of your Azure resources changes. That's a huge time saver. Okay, final exam alert for today. And please listen closely because this trips people up all the time. You cannot use Azure DNS to buy a domain name. Azure DNS is a hosting service, not a registrar. You have to buy your domain name somewhere else, and then you bring it to Azure to manage the records. Remember that.
All right, that was a lot. Let's lock it all in with a rapid-fire review. These are the absolute must-knows. Ready? Let's drill it down. Number 1, VNet is your private, isolated piece of land in Azure. You use subnets to organize it. Number 2, VPNs create a secure, encrypted tunnel for you to use over the public internet. Number 3, ExpressRoute is your dedicated, private superhighway for when you need maximum speed and reliability. And number 4, the big trick question, Azure DNS hosts your domain records. It does not sell you the domain itself. So we've built our foundation and all the highways connecting everything together. But who's checking IDs at the gate? Who's controlling the flow of traffic? Right now, anyone can go anywhere. In our next explainer, we're going to fix that. It's time to meet the traffic cops of Azure, network security groups. I'll see you there.